tribe. I missed you. Um, it's really good to see you. Thank you for all the comments on the video yesterday. It made me feel a lot better about everything. I'm having a pretty good day today. For people who are concerned, I feel so much better than I did when I made the video yesterday. Pain levels much more manageable. So I'm having a really good day. It's interesting going through all of that and just breaking through and convincing myself that I'm still going to be able to function and accomplish things anyway. I'm going to try to, even on the worst pain days. It's really untethered me in a way and changed how I feel about sharing some information. And there's some information that I guess you would probably find pretty interesting. And I am happy to share it. It's a little bit of behind the scenes stuff that I think people who supported the Kickstarter and supported it because of, I mean, even if they don't care that much directly about psychological thrillers or Dangerous to Know, supported it because they care about my filmmaking career, specifically because they want a post-human series of films, or people that have never even heard about the Kickstarter or Dangerous to Know, but they're filmmakers themselves and they're interested in how these things work behind the scenes. And what I'm talking about today is distribution and the very fascinating struggle to get distribution for your film, your first film, during the strangest year ever, for trying to get distribution since the industry began. There's never been anything like what happened in 2020, just after we successfully funded the Kickstarter campaign. Usually Kickstarters are before the movie has even been made, or sometimes Kickstarters will happen because the film's been made, but money's needed for post-production. With ours, post-production was done. It was that money was needed for actually submitting the movie to festivals, because there's entrance fees that are pretty expensive, and also for other things too, creating a DCP package, that sort of thing. But it's been a year. It's been actually over a year since the Kickstarter finished. But it's been a year of us submitting, and a lot of things have happened that I haven't publicly spoken about. And they're pretty fascinating, and we've learned a lot. I had a message on Kickstarter today, and a fellow mentioned being or feeling just oblivious about how the whole distribution of a movie and that whole system works, and I think I probably was too, even though I'd done research. What I thought was what was publicly available. So the information that was publicly available, the story that Hollywood kind of tells you about how distribution happens, and it's something I should have known, but I think you'll find it interesting, and you probably don't know it either unless you've been through it. Might not surprise you to find out that it's not what you think, and that the story you've been hearing is like most things with Hollywood, it's fiction. So you've probably heard the one, and it doesn't really matter which festival, and it doesn't really matter which movie. So I don't need to call anybody out in particular, but the one about the first-time filmmaker that submits his or her movie to a festival, and that festival is being attended by an acquisitions person from a major studio or distributor, and and he or she loves the movie so much that he immediately takes the director and maybe a couple of executive producers out for dinner, and an hour later they're shaking hands over cocktails, $1 million deal. And then of course there's a big release for the movie, and the director becomes a huge success. We've heard that story too. What we've learned, and we learned it right from the source, from directly asking those people, the acquisitions people of major studios and distributors, is that's not true. They've worked those deals out months in advance. And it turns out that the festival circuit isn't really about gaining a distributor at all. It's actually more about just promoting your movie. It's really an advertisement for the most part. Now that's not completely the case, but it is the case from our experience. We're yet to talk to another filmmaker that didn't already have distribution that was at the festivals, including the one that we were at. What's really going on is distributors are usually the ones who actually have submitted the movie to the festival, and there's relationships that have happened. So people who work for the distributor work with people from the festivals, and most of the slate is already decided, and so your chances of getting into one of the few remaining slates is it's slim to none, and some people told us that it was impossible. We didn't give up, but I mean, we're human and we were pretty discouraged, but we didn't give up, and we managed to land one, and we managed to land a major festival. And this is despite the fact that truly we didn't have representation at all. When we first got started with this, somebody put us in contact with an advisor, and it was an advisor. Again, I don't want to name anybody, but it was an advisor it was an advisor to us, but it was a founder of one of the world's biggest film festivals. And I mean, one of the world's biggest film festivals. If you knew which one, you just would be shocked. And we thought getting that kind of advice meant that we'd be a shoo-in, but it turned out, I mean, the first piece of advice that we got was to find somebody from the Producers Guild of America, so PGA. You've probably seen PGA behind names when you see the credits in movies. Of course, we don't know anybody who's a PGA, but to find one that has a lot of experience lobbying in France. And this is for Cannes, for the Cannes Film Festival. We didn't know that we needed somebody to lobby for us, and that we needed somebody that did this for a living. You know, this was what they were established to do. This was their career. The pandemic began, and there was a lot of talk in the media about whether or not Cannes was going to get canceled. Cannes didn't cancel until the day after the deadline, which I don't blame them for. There's no refunds, so it was a gamble for us. We spent the money, which means we basically just funded Cannes, because obviously they were intending on canceling anyway. But at the same time, those festivals were a lot of those festivals won't be able to come back because they've lost so much money, and a lot of people lost their jobs. So I understand why, at the very least, they were taking the submission fees. So I don't resent them for it or anything, but they yeah, they took the money and ran basically. But then part of the festival was digital, and so our movie, even though the physical festival had been canceled, it did get a lot of views, and we know that because there it is playing behind me. Um, we can see when it's been watched. We get analytics, and so it was being viewed quite a bit. Uh, and Cannes was really good to us, but we didn't hire anybody. No one had even told us at that point that the festival was still going to happen, uh, and it really was up in the air until uh, very soon before um, they announced that there would be a digital festival. It appeared to just have been canceled. Actually, there was some talk about moving it back, but um, we were seeing views, and we were confused as to why we were seeing views because this festival was canceled. Um, and it turns out that I guess they didn't really know what they were doing, and they were playing it by ear, but they must have instructed judges to watch anyway, and so we must have gone pretty far along in the process. But not having anybody working for us, we didn't even know, and we really didn't understand why we were getting views, um, and uh, and so we got a nice message from them, but we got a nice message from them letting us down, and that message actually came before we found out that they were, after all, going to have a digital version of the festival. Um, Something similar happened with TIFF. So that's the Toronto International Film Festival. It was um, it was a good experience actually. They weren't sure if they were going to have some of it be physical or if the whole thing was going to have to be digital. They were sort of settling on a hybrid version, and and so we didn't know if they were going to get canceled or not. But by then, we'd already been accepted to FrightFest, and we learned through the FrightFest experience that it was important to actually contact the person in charge, the person who is the director of programming, because with FrightFest, that's exactly how we got in. We got in because the director of programming found out about our movie, had seen a trailer online, and actually wrote to Jenny and asked Jenny about the movie because he said it looked interesting. And what we discovered was that um, the movie hadn't been watched. So they hadn't announced who was going to get in yet, but they really had their slate of movies already booked, um, and and because they had their slate of movies booked, uh, we we were probably about to get a rejection, but the founder and director of the festival wanted to see the movie, and so we let him have it. And the next day, he said uh, he said a lot of great things. He said he loved it, and went way beyond that actually. And we'll share a bit actually of what he said in a video soon. I think in the future, but. We ended up having a really great relationship with him. We had no idea, in fact, because he was so good to us, we had no idea that he actually terrifies filmmakers um, and and it's because he has a bit of a reputation for being he doesn't suffer fools. So he's a great guy as far as I'm concerned, really nice guy, and I can understand why he doesn't suffer fools. And I think maybe we don't suffer the same kind of fools actually, um, but I mean, he treated us really well, and we got a lot of uh, unusually good treatment. And we did this without paying them anything. We didn't have anyone working for us. I mean, it was just um, it was just because he loved the movie, and he became a big supporter of it and a big backer of it. And and because of that experience, because we found out that the lower level judges at these festivals sometimes don't watch the movies if the movie isn't already, I guess you'd say, earmarked for that festival. We realized that we weren't really even being judged by a lot of the festivals, and so we were submitting, but we weren't being viewed, and so with TIFF, we contacted, I should say, actually Jenny contacted the director of programming, and it was real close to when they were going to be announcing what the lineup was, and he watched it, and we didn't get in, but he wrote a letter to me, and it was like an essay. It was fully complimentary. There wasn't anything negative about the movie at all. I'll just tell you what I really think, and that's what I mean about feeling a bit untethered. What I really think is either there just wasn't space for us, and it was too late in the day for him to make space for us. That's possible. Or the other possibility is that it's not that it was too late, but that he may have been the first person at TIFF to have seen it. And I know that can be maybe a little bit embarrassing for somebody who's representing a festival, because these movies are supposed to be viewed, but the people that view it, the initial people that view it, are usually volunteers, and so it's not really the director's fault if people lower than them are not being honest with them, and so the message was great. It was really nice to receive it, and I got the impression that I was receiving such a detailed. I mean, it was like a review, really. It was like a rave review. It was a wholly positive, but the impression that I got was that this was someone who wanted to encourage me and wanted to tell me that the movie had a future, and said so in the message. So it was really nice to receive. I really didn't get that down about it. In fact, I didn't get down about it at all. I thought it was nice to receive it, and I felt it would have been great to get TIFF, of course. But by then, through the experience with Cannes, so we knew we weren't playing the game properly, and that we couldn't even really afford to play the game because it costs money to play the game. And so the way we were playing it was very, very long odds, but that there was a chance, and we proved that with FrightFest. So that's why when I made a video a few months ago, and I said that we're pretty much done with festivals. That's the real reason why I said it. It was that I felt that there wasn't really anything else we were going to be able to accomplish by getting another festival. That said, one of the festivals that we wanted to actually submit to last year, we were just late for it. We would have, by the time we found out about it, the deadline had passed by a couple of days. We wrote to them. They went out of their way to write to us because their submissions for 2021 have just opened again, and we're thinking we probably actually will submit because they're being very nice. They're a major festival, and it's in a different part of the world, and I think it'd be pretty fun to do it. And also the pandemic should be over by the time they hold the festival, because it'll be next fall. So we'll see. And there's still some other festivals that may pick us, because they're also taking place in the fall, and they directly ask for the movie. So we'll see how that goes. But really, what it is that we need now is just distribution, and we'll see. It's not that we've been turned down, and actually we haven't been turned down at all. It's that once we realized that we were going to need to go directly to the distributors and the studios and the acquisitions people ourselves, we started researching that, and we thought we had a pretty good sense of how to approach them. Then I did an interview about a month ago that it'll go up on YouTube soon, I think, but it's for a really big filmmaking podcast, and off the air. Again, I'm not even saying what the podcast is, or who the filmmakers are, or what the distributor does, or who they are, but he let me know that again, the stories that we were hearing in the media weren't accurate, and that there was a real issue with some distributors taking advantage of filmmakers, and in ways that are just unacceptable, and would be really unacceptable for Jenny and I. So we decided to keep exploring options, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that I just I don't tolerate I don't tolerate selfishness very well, and I don't tolerate incompetence very well, and because the system is the way it is, and because it exists, and because other people are frustrated by it, and because everyone has to deal with it, and that everybody feels the same frustrations, doesn't mean that you necessarily just let it be and not do anything, at least as far as I'm concerned. And so I'm thinking a lot about 2020, and I'm thinking a lot about 2021. I'm thinking about what has happened to the North American box office, and I've been thinking about the future of filmmaking, and I've been thinking about the future of distribution, and how people are going to watch their movies in the future, and it's not impossible, because I've been working on something, and this is where disclosure has to stop, because I have to keep some things to myself. But it's possible movies will be distributed in a different way, and it's possible that access to filmmaking could really open up in a very good way, a very special way. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see if it's something that is necessary for me to do. But I might do it. But there's still that little window, just like with FrightFest, and the director of the festival seeing the trailer, writing to Jenny, asking for the movie, then loving the movie. There's that little crack in the window. It's open about that much that might just allow us to go through the traditional system. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see, and it'll have to be a really, really good situation, because there's no way after everything I've put into this movie that I'm going to allow me and Jenny and the cast that cares so much about the movie, and all of you that care so much about the movie, to get taken advantage of. There's just absolutely no way. So we're going to make sure that the deal is really, really good before we sign up. Okay, so that's the story-ish of searching for distribution for Dangerous to Know in 2020 and so far in 2021. Let me know what you think in the comments. Man, I sound like a YouTuber when I say that. But seriously, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll respond. And since I'm going full YouTuber, why don't you smash that thumbs up button? But seriously, that actually helps the video a lot, and the comments help the video a lot too. If you comment, it helps the video be viewed by more people and shared by more people. Tribe, you're amazing. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I'll see you in the next one.